3, 2, 1.
What's up, guys? I'm Michael.
I'm Brittany.
And if you watched our last video, that was about how we got to be $120,000 in debt when we first got married. This video is going to be about how we paid all of that off. And if you didn't see the other one, I'll link it. I think it's over here on this side. But yeah, this video we're going to kind of explain and walk through the process of how we became debt-free. We were able to pay off all $120,000 in a little less than 3 years. It took us 2 years and 11 months.
Yeah.
And the journey was extremely difficult, but very rewarding. So here's that story.
We're
debt-free! Love it, love it, love it! Boom!
It began when Brittany's father introduced us to Dave Ramsey's, I guess, financial atmosphere, or kind of, I don't know how you phrase it. We got introduced to Dave Ramsey through Brittany's father.
Yeah,
and
it was shortly after we had gotten engaged, and he wanted us to go through it because it helped him. And so that was just a gift to us. He bought the tickets and said, "Here, go to this." And it was like, I think it was like Total Money Makeover or Smart
yeah,
Money.
I think it was a Total Money Makeover live event.
It was a live
Which I don't
event.
think he does anymore, but this was back in 2012. So we went to one of his live events and got introduced to just this totally new way of thinking about money that we had never knew how to think of money this way before. I mean, and it's kind of like, it's not that what we learned that day was new or different or anything out of the ordinary, or like some like huge epiphany went off in our minds about, wow, like this is amazing, nobody thinks this way. It wasn't anything like that. It was just it's kind of difficult to describe. Like you grow up thinking about something the same way for so long, and eventually you just don't really think about how you're thinking about it. And that was kind of our, or at least my situation with...
You're kind of just going with the status quo, or...
Yeah, you're just kind of going along with what society tells you to think about. We thought about money the way our parents taught us to think about it, or how our parents used money. And then alongside that, growing up in a society that kind of reinforced those same ideas. You know, by the time we were engaged and about to get married, we were thinking about money the way normal people think about money, I guess. But it led to us being in a very, very, very bad situation. $120,000 in debt between student loans, which are normal, and car loans, which are normal, and credit card bills, which are normal. Like, everyone has these things, and so did we. Not everyone, but like
not everyone.
A lot of people have these things. And we grew up in an environment saying, yeah, those are okay. Those are pretty much normal. You kind of have to get those things to move ahead in life. So we got student loans and car loans and credit cards. And so we were normal, but we were miserable too. Going through Dave Ramsey's live event kind of showed us a mirror of ourselves, and how, I guess, I don't want to use the word stupid. I want to use stupid. How stupid that was. Because like at the end of the day, like, the money that we make is our biggest resource to move us ahead in life. And at that time, Brittany and I were spending probably 90% of our money on things that we couldn't afford. We were just kind of giving it to the bank and paying interest on top of it.
Yeah.
So we had gotten ourselves in a situation, because of the way we were thinking, that was like enslavement to the bank, to banks, and to the government, to the federal government, because student loans are federally insured. So going through this live event totally changed our minds about how we thought about money. It was crazy. I mean, because getting to that point in our lives was 25, 28. I forget how old I was when we got married. But
Yeah, it's 25 and 28. I was 25, you were 20.
But yeah, I mean, like, it took that long for us to reach that point, and it took 4 hours to totally change our mind about all this. And I remember leaving the conference, leaving the live event, feeling totally in control, even though I owed a lot of money, totally in control of my mindset, and totally in control of the rest of my life financially. And finally, like, having a plan to get to where I wanted to go, I guess. Not exactly, but like there was a plan more or less that Brittany and I could implement to turn our lives around and start going in a direction that would be very beneficial in the future, instead of continuing to give money to the bank and continuing to purchase things that we couldn't afford.
Yeah, it just helped give us a plan or a roadmap
Yeah.
to become debt free, and that's something we both really wanted.
Yeah, I mean, and so I know we spent the last couple of minutes talking about Dave Ramsey, but I mean, that event really was kind of like the Kickstarter to our financial journey and becoming debt free. I mean, without having gone to that event, I'm not sure if we would be where we are right now. And I don't want it to sound like we're giving Dave Ramsey all the credit, because at the end of the day, we still had to implement everything we learned.
Right.
But he did an incredible job of giving us the information to feel empowered and in control. And this video is not sponsored at all by him. But yeah, that's kind of like the first part. If you don't know who Dave Ramsey is, he's kind of like a financial person.
Yeah.
He's helped probably millions of people by now become debt free. And he has something called the baby steps. You know, baby step number 1 is save up $1,000 for an emergency fund. Baby step number 2 is pay off all of your debts, smallest debt to largest. Baby step number 3 is save up a 6-month emergency fund or 3 to 6 month emergency fund. Baby step number 4 is start investing. Number 5 is save for college or your kids' college funds.
College, yeah.
Number 6 is build wealth and give. And if you have a house, pay that off early. We're currently kind of in baby step number 4, I guess you could say. We're kind of trying to figure out where we should invest, but we'll get into that in another video. That's kind of like the basic rundown of Dave Ramsey's financial steps. But in this video, we kind of want to be a little bit more specific and get into a little bit more specific details about what we actually did to become debt free. So that's what this video is going to be about. Not so long before the live event, I had purchased a brand new Toyota Prius for almost $30,000. I think it was like $27,000 or $28,000.
Yeah.
It's the most I've ever spent on a car in my life. And I don't know how I got the loan, because I wasn't making all that much money at the time. I was still in college. I had a part-time job. I was earning maybe like $1,000, $1,200 at the most every month. And this car payment was well over a third of my income. So anyways, I had just purchased that car, and then we go to this live event, and I learned that like purchasing new cars is one of the dumbest things you can do with your money, unless you have enough money to counterbalance the depreciation that's gonna take place like instantly. So I was like, well, crap, because I love this car, and I love the gas mileage it was getting. It wasn't a very fun car to drive, but it was very fuel efficient and had a lot of technology at the time. I'll put a picture of it on the screen. I loved it, but it did not fit with my finances, and it was a very, very bad idea getting it. And I justified it because the fuel mileage was so incredible. But the thing was, the amount of money I was saving on fuel mileage didn't make up for the extra money I was paying the bank every month. So I sold it, and I bit the bullet, and I sold it, and I bought another car for like half the price. That was a lot more fun to drive, actually, and paid that one off in like 6 months. Yeah.
So you went from, at the time you owed like what, 22,500?
Yeah, about 23,000 on the Prius.
And then you sold it.
Sold it.
All you owed after that was 11,500, something like that, right?
Something like that. I couldn't get as much as I owed for the car in trading it in, but I got very close. I think I wrapped up another $500 that I still owed on the Prius to the car I got after that.
Right.
So yeah.
So that helped us a lot.
Yeah, and then you sold your car.
Yeah, so I had bought a brand new car as well, and that was the first time I had ever done that. But luckily I was able to sell it. There's about $4,500 left on the loan. I sold it for $9,000, and then I bought an older used car, what Dave Ramsey would call a junker car, for like $3,000, and walked away with $1,500 in cash. So I was able to get rid of that $4,500 in debt, and plus the $1,500 that we could put to other debt, so we came ahead.
Yeah. So selling my car, we were still in car debt after I sold my car, but we were able to pay off $11,500 of our debt with that sale.
Just the trade.
Yeah, with the trade, and then with Brittany selling her car, freed up $4,500, and
1,500 as well.
Put
So
another 1,500 towards something else.
This is about 6,000.
Yeah. So those numbers may be off. We'll have to go back and look at them. But the point is, the very first thing we did is we sold both of our cars.
Yeah.
And it wasn't very fun, but
No.
um,
It was kind of stressful because I was trying to find something cheap but reliable.
yeah. It's difficult to find, or at least at the time,
Yeah.
it was difficult to find cheap, reliable cars. We know exactly what to do now if we want to find a cheap, reliable car. But
Yeah. But
yeah, at the time, we were like, the only cars we had purchased were, or at least for me, was brand new cars.
And
I'd
I-
never purchased a used car.
I had purchased used cars before, but they were higher in, like, it was $6,000 to the $10,000 range.
Yeah.
And I hadn't gone under that, so
Yeah. So, anyways, so after going through the live event, the very first thing we did was either sell our cars or trade them in, and that kind of made a big dent at first.
yes. So I think you wrote it down, and you had the amount.
$13,000.
Yeah, it got us ahead $13,000.
Yeah.
In our debt.
So after that, during the next little less than 3 years, both Brittany and I slowly started accumulating more and more jobs. She was working full time, so she had a lot less free time than I did. I was self-employed, so my schedule fluctuated a lot. I was at home a lot more, so I had a lot more flexibility in my work schedule to pick up more jobs.
Yeah.
So over the 3 years that we were getting out of debt, I picked up an extra 2 or 3 jobs that I would do every so often.
Yeah.
So not only did I have like my main job, I also started teaching Sunday school for a local church on the weekends. I started doing swim lessons every now and then, and I contracted every now and then with an organization that worked with local high schools.
Yeah.
Since I was in the education field, so that's like 3 or 4 things that I was doing all the time, and then
Yeah, so I worked full time. Luckily with my job, a full time schedule for me was only 36 hours. I did about 3 12-hour shifts, and then I was able to, with the 4 extra days, I picked up another job that paid well for just working an extra 12 hours a week. So I was working 36 plus 12, 48 hours a week. And bringing in, I want to say, an extra 1,500.
yeah, it would fluctuate like 800 to 1,500.
Yeah, it just would fluctuate depending on if they needed me that week or not. It was very as needed.
Yeah.
But I was able to bring in a decent amount when it was consistent.
Yeah.
So
So, like we said in the other video, when we first got married, our income was about $40,000 because we were kind of both just getting started. By the end of paying off all of our debt, by the end of that almost 3-year process, our income was about $140,000. We were making between $11,000 and $12,000 a month. Now, a lot of that was going out in taxes,
yeah.
but every last cent that we could pay toward debt, that's what we did.
Mm-hmm.
So just to so first thing we did was sell the cars. We sold our cars because they were way too expensive for us.
Yeah.
Second thing we did was got more jobs between the two of us. That dramatically increased our income.
Yeah, it gave us a bigger shovel to basically dig ourselves out of
Yep.
the hole we could create.
Yep. So the first 2 years of paying off our debt, we averaged about $30,000 a year that we could pay off each of those years. The last year we paid off $60,000. That was the last year we were paying off debt was really when we got serious about like.
Yeah, because we kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel, and we were like, okay, we just need to get this done and get rid of it as fast as we can, and so that's why we picked up extra jobs.
Also, this entire time we were budgeting. We had
was a big thing.
a physical sheet of paper that would put all of our expenses on, all of our income. The budget we did was not like, I guess, a typical budget. It was more like we started with our expenses every month, and then we put our income at the bottom of that, and we kind of had an idea of how much money we would have left after all of our expenses were paid.
Yeah.
And every last cent of that went toward paying debt. We gave ourselves $40 a month to just have fun with. That didn't go very far.
Yeah, that was it.
So $40 a month is like one movie and going out to eat at a fairly cheap restaurant. And that was it.
Fast food.
And it's funny. Like initially, I didn't want to give ourselves any money to go out with because I'm the type of person I can just stay inside and not do anything and be totally fine.
Yeah, but I was.
But Brittany, like, Brittany's not like that. So we eventually settled on 40, and I think we slowly increased that number over the last year because we were making so much money.
Yeah, we were making a lot more.
But it wasn't an extra $10, $20, $30 a month is not really going to hurt anything.
Yeah,
so,
but we never went over that. I think the highest we got it up to was $60 a month.
Yeah, I think the highest we gave ourselves was about $60 a month to burn, to have fun with.
Yeah. And that also gave us a little bit of incentive or like something you could look forward to. Yeah. After all this like hard work and dedication, it's kind of like that treat you get.
Yeah, for her it was like that. Yeah. I didn't really care. But
I needed something.
Yeah. So yeah, selling our cars, getting a bunch of jobs, budgeting, and I think and kind of going more along the lines of budgeting, being extremely frugal with our money. Like if we did not need something, we didn't buy it. Yeah, we only bought things that we needed 100%, with the exception of the $40 to $60 a month that we would just kind of have fun with. That was it. Like it's kind of like if you're following Dave Ramsey's plan, like he often says, you're not going to see the inside of a restaurant unless you're working there. Right. It's kind of how we were. We didn't really go and do much. We kept our heads down and we worked our butts off. Yeah.
And for me, because I really liked getting out and doing things, we tried to find free things we could do. Yeah. Like we had a very nice city that we were living in and community where they had events going on at the park. So we would go to those occasionally. We would find new areas to just walk. Like we visited a couple different parks around the area just to get outside. We just found things we could do for free. And
lots of couponing at the grocery store.
Yeah, I did a lot of couponing and tried to stack coupons to get the cost
down. We also didn't buy the healthiest stuff at the grocery store. No, we bought like the cheap $1 microwave dinners a lot of the time.
And then we also did meals that were cheaper, like you did peanut butter jelly.
Yeah. Again, like I'm the kind of person I can eat the same thing for every meal and not care about it.
Yeah, not me. I did, and because I tried to be a little bit healthier. I tried to find things that were lower in cost, that you can actually find fresh, frozen vegetables, and just go from there. Like you save a lot of money going to the frozen section for the veggies and the fruit than just buying it like the regular produce aisle. Yeah. So we just tried to be a little bit healthy and frugal at the grocery store. Every month we only spent $400 in our grocery budget, and we stuck to it. And another thing,
there were a few months we went a little bit over that.
Yeah, but what helped was, if you follow Dave Ramsey, we did the envelope system. So the envelope system is everything that you can pay with cash, you designate an envelope to. Like for us, it was food. So $400 was our budget for food, so we put it in the envelope for food.
So we put $400 cash in the food envelope at the beginning of every month. And once that ran out, that was it. We couldn't buy any more food.
We got really creative with what was left in our pantry to make dinner.
Yeah. We were going to do the same thing with gasoline money, but it's kind of like if gasoline money ran out and you still needed to go somewhere, like for our jobs or whatever, we didn't feel like gas money would be the best thing to do that with. So we just kind of kept track of all the gas money we'd spend every month, and didn't make an envelope system for that. But so anyways, long story short, with envelope system, there are certain things that we could use cash for, that we felt comfortable using cash for. We use envelopes for those things, like food, fun money, etc. But other things we couldn't really use cash for, like gasoline, we kind of voted against gasoline, utility bills, things like that. So yeah, envelope system was one of the things that we used to help us kind of stay within our budget.
Especially for me, when I started swiping my card, it was very easy for me to lose track of how much I was spending. Yeah. But when I saw it in cash,
You know how much you have left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know exactly how much you have left. And it
So-
helped a lot.
Yeah. So a big thing that we learned was that personal finance has a lot less to do with up here and a lot more to do with how you live your life and your behavior. So obviously, like having the head knowledge to implement some good financial strategies is a good thing, but at the end of the day, you're the one who has to implement those with your behavior. So I think a lot of people say like personal finance is 20% head knowledge, 80% behavior, and I think we would kind of agree with that. It's a lot more to do with behavior than what you know.
Yeah. And going through and doing everything we did helped break a lot of our bad habits and
Yeah.
set us up for more success in the future because we continued, like, we still budget.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, yeah, we still budget and we're in a very comfortable place financially right now. So, yeah, I mean, that's what we did to become debt free. And another reason we're making this video is that if you are in a situation like we were in when we first got married and you feel like you're just buried and you can't breathe because of all the debt that you have, there are some things you can do to get out. And if you want to copy what we did, please feel free. Copy as much as you want.
Yeah.
As much as what applies to your life. But just remember, like, you have to do it. I guess honestly, like, if looking back at our lives, like, we were just kind of fed up.
Yeah, we were
where we were. We were fed up of just following everyone else and not thinking for ourselves, and not having the knowledge to think for ourselves regarding money.
Yeah, because we knew it was off. Like, we knew living paycheck to paycheck just wasn't for us, and we knew that's not where we wanted to be. And like, we had that feeling in our heart, in our stomach, that sinking feeling that this isn't good. We need to change and get out of this.
Yeah.
So when we learned about Dave Ramsey's plan and then started doing it, we felt a lot better about where we were going.
Yeah. Once you have a plan in place, it makes things a lot easier because you have something you can follow.
Yeah, it does.
And you know, if you don't have a plan, it's kind of like, it just feels like you're going in circles. At least I feel that way. So I think we're going to end the video here. I've rambled on long enough. Again, that's how we paid off $120,000 in 2 years, 11 months. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you made it this far, please give us a thumbs up. It helps out tremendously. And I'll see you guys next time.
Bye.